Hey everyone, Works here. I'm going to adjust this camera because I recorded a different type of video that requires me to slide that over. There we go. So Dragonflight talent trees, we continue to get them trickled out. Priest came out, didn't really do a video on that because I'm a complete outsider to Priest, so I would have zero idea on what to talk about. I'm sure I know Automatic Jack has been putting out some good stuff about the healing side of things. I'm sure there's some YouTubers out there that are doing the Shadow Priest side of the tree as well. And people that just know the class a lot better than I do. All I know about Priest is some of its general abilities and that Newall plays woman. The short version of Newall's response was that it's got a lot of good ideas, but it's really inefficient to get some of those good ideas. So he's hoping that they reorganize the tree. That's the short version of the Shadow Priest tree. But we're not here to talk about Priests, we're here to talk about Hunters, because Hunters and Rogues both got released today. So what we're going to do in this video is go over the Hunter side of the tree and the Marksmanship tree itself, because that's the spec that I play the most often right now when I do play my Hunter. So we're going to talk about kind of initial impressions of the tree itself, and then also kind of formulate an early thought process build that sounds interesting if nothing else, and we're going to focus it from a Mythic Plus perspective, so more AoE focused, small group content type focus, and go from there. So let's dive right into it. First thing that we're going to do is talk about the Hunter side of the tree. Kill command, concussive shot, and kill shot. Two of these make perfect sense. Why is concussive shot up here? Probably because there's nothing else really to put in there. Apologies, I tested positive for COVID on July 4th. As of recording July 9th, I'm still feeling this a little bit, so my throat's not 100%. Rest of me feels fine, just throat's not 100%. So don't understand why concussive shot is there, but whatever, it's there. So second row that we can grab for Marksmanship is post haste, which we take. It's something that you take pretty often right now. Without having to make the choice between camouflage and post haste anymore, you can actually get both. Spoilers. Why not get both? Of course, we grab counter shot, we're going to grab misdirect, we're going to grab trank shot, and then we're going to get improved kill shot to make your damage a little bit better, and natural mending to reduce the cooldown of acceleration, something that you get right now through the natural mending talent. And that gives us the 8 points that we need to move down to the next row. Now, on the next row, this is where things start to get really weird for the Hunter tree. So the Hunter tree, if you notice, there's not a ton of DPS increasing talents. Like, there are a ton of throughput talents on the Death Knight tree. There's a lot of throughput talents on the Druid tree, and the little bit that I looked into the Priest tree, there's a lot of throughput talents there. Hunter does not. Hunter has mostly utility talents and small increases in other ways, and I think I prefer that because it means you can bake a lot more interesting ideas down into your spec tree, I think, or you just baseline a lot more of this stuff for the class as a whole. So on this row, we can either get Fogged Crystal, which means your pets take reduced damage, where Marksmanship Hunter has long been the lone wolf spec, although they're making it so that you can do a pet build, in which case that does change up your talents a little bit. You would want something like maybe Kill Command or Thick Hides, something along those lines, but I still think MM is going to be the lone wolf, lone sniper type talent, so this doesn't really have any use. Improved Trank Shot, gain 10 focus when you successfully dispel an effect. Pretty good, and we need the points. And then here you get Scatter Shot versus Binding Shot, so it's AoE stun AoE root versus a single target stun. This one's kind of interesting. You can kind of choose this based on PvE, PvP, and there's also single target versus AoE needs, whatever you might need. Speaking of PvE versus PvP, this is strictly from a PvE perspective. Okay, if you PvP as a Hunter, you're not going to find out what I think of this from a PvP perspective, because I have all of like 20 games of Arena and maybe have done like half a dozen or a dozen battlegrounds since coming back to the game. It's just not an area that I have a ton of interest in and I don't have any knowledge about. So if you're looking for the thoughts of from a PvP perspective, I definitely recommend going and finding PvPers' thoughts on it, whether it's here on YouTube or through other means. So just want to put that out there. Yes, it's 4 minutes into the video that it came in, but PvPers, please don't jump down my throat about this video, because like I'm not talking about your aspect of the game. I'm just sorry. Alright, so we get Binding Shot. That opens up some new talent trees for us. We get Born to be Wild to reduce the cooldown of aspect of the cheetah, mainly for us, and turtle. and also grab camouflage and get 6% movement speed. Hunters, not having a ton of defensive tools, you get aspect of the turtle, and that's it. Movement speed is going to be a way for you to have somewhat of a defensive, because you're going to have slightly faster movement getting out of mechanics. So we need 2 more points to get down to this tree. Unfortunately, there's not really anything else that's good. I could go a point into tar trap and then a point into intimidation. Or excuse me, not into intimidation, into high explosive trap. So that's what I'm going to do for Mythic Plus purposes. We're going to grab this to give us slow on the weeks that are slows are good. Here's a knockback that we can use if a knockback is needed. And it causes a little bit of fire damage, so it has some niche utility from there. And that allows us to come down. Now this is the part of the marksmanship side of the tree where I'm a little disappointed in it, because you have to get 2 very underwhelming abilities in order to get down further into the more interesting stuff. Serpent Sting, it's fine. You don't use it actively. You always use Serpent Stalker's Trickery, I think was the name of it. Yeah, Serpent Stalker's Trickery to get a Serpent Sting on your target. And Barrage has just always been bad. I don't know why Blizzard is trying to make this talent a thing. I know visually it's kind of interesting. I just find it annoying personally, but this has never done enough damage to feel valuable. Like, if I'm talenting these 2 abilities because I want Explosive Shot, which is good, go here. Why do you feel like I have to pick Barrage? Because in order to get Master Marksman, which is a 15 row talent now that's used a lot in single target situations, you have to go that route. So we have 6 points left to spend, excuse me. So 6 points left to spend. And this is the only Covenant ability that is making a return, and it's the worst one. Well, I won't say only. It's the only one in its proper name. So we're going to choose Death Chakram just because it does a little bit more. So they take 10% more physical damage from you, and you generate 3 focus, whereas on regular chakrams, they just deal damage. It's literally the first half of Death Chakrams, except maybe they do slightly a bit more damage. Death Chakrams provides a little bit more utility. So getting 10% more damage allows you to open up a burst window. So think of something that has a vulnerability phase, for example, like a Rifrian in Spires of Ascension, where when the tank is soaking the orbs, he takes more damage. Or Ingram Malik in Spires, when Dromund gets a small piece of revenge on Ingram Malik and you're trying to burn that as much as possible. That'd be a time where you'd want to throw Death Chakram, right before that phase happens, hit Death Chakram and then hit True Shot and go into your, take that 10 seconds that you're getting it and get that 10% more damage. Just allows a burst window to be a little bit more powerful. So it has niche use. I think it's really to hope you would use it preemptively to set up your cooldowns, and then don't use it again until you're ready to set up cooldowns again. It might be a fire it on cooldown type thing in a raid situation, but the bottom row talents here are just, outside of Explosive Shot, they're all really boring. Killer Instinct Alpha Predator is a kill command booster. We're not taking it. Steel Trap. Traps are just not really all that great for marksman. So we have 4 more points to spend. Unfortunately, we're not going to be able to get the full balance of Keen Eyesight. So we're going to have to take Binding Shackles, which does give them damage reduction against you. Unfortunately, it's not damage reduction, period. And then we'll take the final 3 points and put them into Keen Eyesight to max out that tree. Why not get Latent Poison Injectors or Viper's Venom? Because again, you're not really going to be using Serpent Sting all that often, at least on my view of it. There's not a lot of synergy. You don't get a bonus for having Serpent Sting on a target for any reason. It's not if Serpent Sting's on the target, Arcane Shot does damage, or Multishot does more damage. It's not like Survival, where if you have Serpent Sting up on targets and you use Pheromone Bomb, then you get all this cool interaction with Serpent Sting. It just doesn't exist for this. That's the Hunter side of the tree. Beyond the first tier, I break these down into 3 tiers. For the first 8 points, the next 12 points, the final 11 points. For this first tier, I think is pretty good, and then after this it starts to fall apart a little bit. they're trying too much to appeal to a lot of general hunter stuff in this tree, and as a result, I think it makes it a little less interesting. I don't hate the approach that it doesn't cover a lot of DPS increasing talents. Like, let's count them out. Obviously, kill shot, improved kill shot, yes. Let's see. Technically high explosive trap because it does damage. So keen eyesight, that's 3 that I'll say for real. Master Marksman, Death Chakram, Serpent Sting. So there's only like 7 talents here that actually increase your damage, where it's like almost every talent in like the DK tree, for example, or the Druid trees focus on, I mean, I'd say about half in the Druid tree and about 80% of the DK trees focus on like DPS increasing talents. We'll do the DK trees over the next few videos here as well. But I think the bottom half of this tree just starts to peter out in its momentum. Like, it doesn't carry through enough things that I think are truly interesting. And there's at least 4 useless talents that you have to get in order to get stuff that's more interesting. So Serpent Sting, Barrage, Explosive Trap, Intimidation, Choice Node, and Binding Shackles. Like, I just find all 4 of these to have no impact at all on Marksmanship. Now, they could tune the numbers on all of them to make it so that it is useful, but from the first glance, like, it's not that interesting. I would much prefer to have, like, maybe Serpent Sting switch places with Chimera Shot or something along those lines. I'm no hunter expert, so I'm sure the hunters of TSL are going to be doing their thing on it. But let's go to the Marksmanship side of the tree. So we have Aim Shot, no surprise. Precise Shots, getting more damage off of that, no surprise. And getting Arcane Shot, reduced focus costs, which you need in order to get to Rapid Fire. So this right here, I think, is the immediate guarantee. Steady Shot now generating 10 focus. So it depends a lot on how much Steady Shot is in the rotation. So, for example, in 9.0 and 9.1, Steady Shot was used often because of the way that the legendary setups and the pre-tier set system that I don't want to mention by name was set up. But with the tier set giving us a lot of value in trick shots and giving us free, like, legendary and tier set combo that we use, giving us a lot of basically free focus because we're getting no cost aim shots. Steady Shot has fallen out of favor outside of like high movement situations where you're moving to sustain for a number of seconds. So this talent will depend a lot on, is Steady Shot going to be a big part of the rotation? If the answer is yes, then this talent is going to be very much worth it. If the answer is no, then it may not be all that worth it. So for the time being, I'm going to skip this. Focused aim, aim shot increasing damage. We always take aim shot increasing damage. It's the biggest hitter in our arsenal, so we're going to take that. Killing blow, we're going to take because we need it to activate multi-shots. So, but increased crit chance on kill shot. I'm a big kill shot fan. I think it's a really fun button to push. Aim shot, I think, is a really fun button to push. So there's a lot of kill shot enhancing talents on this side of the tree that I think are really interesting. So of course we're going to grab Multishot because that's what is going to enable trick shots in Mythic Plus. If it's a pure single target fight, so think a fight like, let's see, Rygolon, Skull-X, lesser extent Artificer, like where you're maybe not hitting a bunch of targets at once. But if it's a pure single target fight, there is a real thought that you could just skip the talent point for Multishot and go get something else. However, for Mythic Plus purposes, Multishot is going to be your main enabler of AoE damage, so you're going to take it. So now you notice we have 11 points that we can go down into. Again, this tree is pretty top heavy. So again, for Mythic Plus purposes, Careful Aim is going to be a talent that we're probably going to skip, because outside of bosses, your target's not going to be above 70% health for all that long. So the value that this gives you isn't much. Plus, we don't need it in order to get Bullseye. But even then, again, this could be a talent that we skip because, okay, below 20%, you gain 1% increased critical strike chance. I think these are much more raid-focused talents because they do a lot to enhance your start a fight and end a fight. start a fight and end a fight usually in Mythic Plus is where the fights are the shortest a lot of the times. So these talents just won't find you a ton of value in Mythic Plus. For a raid build, you're absolutely taking them though. Okay, True Aim we're going to take because it opens up some talents down the tree. Bursting Shot, you can take Bursting Shot if you want a little bit more mob control. My thought process on it though is that I have High Explosive Trap, which will knock an enemy away. If you can control the way that the enemies get knocked away, like if the mob is sitting, like if here, let me look at my camera while I do this. So if you're here, you place the trap right in front of you, and the mob is coming from this way, and he hits that trap. Does he fly back this way? Or does he go off in some random direction, like this way or this way? If that's the case where goes back the direction that he was coming from, then Bursting Shot loses value. Might be on a shorter cooldown than Explosive Trap, but from a knockback perspective, for PvE at least, it's not going to lose value, and Quick Load isn't something that I think is going to be valuable at all. So we could skip this, and Quick Shot, Kill Shot causing Aim Shot to recharge faster. This is a nice talent, but I also think that it may not be fully necessary. It's more about some of the talents below. All right, of course, we grab Trick Shots. We're also going to grab Streamline to make rapid fire more damaging. Again, it's a big part of your damage component. I mean, damage profile, rather. And then in this little node, which is very clogged, by the way, there's a lot going on here. So you have Trick Shots. You have improved rapid fire to give you focus gen. Yes. You have Surging Shots or Lethal Shots, both of which are potentially valuable. I'm going to skip these for now because I personally am a big fan of Surging Shots. It's what I use right now. This tree is very dense, so Death Blow, we're going to go ahead and do this to give you basically, this is like a version of Flayed Shot, or basically when you aim shot, you have a chance to get a free kill shot. Which is basically what the Flayed Shot dot was. I kind of wish Flayed Shot would have come back. I personally was a big fan of it. We're also going to grab Lone Wolf because this is the whole point of the build. Steady Focus, we're going to skip. Salvo, we're basically it makes it so that when you trick shot something, so like you activate trick shots through multi-shot, you aim shot, you fade, your next multi-shot is going to do 200% more damage at 2 points here, and activate trick shots again, and then you just go through that loop. I think this talent is worth taking in Mythic Plus situations. In single target situations, I think it's very skippable. You know, and we'll get into this talent in a little bit. Of course, we're going to grab Volley. We're also going to grab Sharpshooter. Actually, we're not going to take Sharpshooter for now because it's just 4% crit damage, which I don't know mathematically how much that's going to be worth, but we'll find out. So this is the part of the tree where, again, I think the Hunter tree starts to get really messy. And even in the middle of this tree, it starts to get pretty messy. So we can get Deadeye, which I'm going to grab, because 2 charges of kill shot I don't think are a bad thing. Of course we grab True Shot because it's your big cooldown. It is very far down the tree though. When you compare it to like, well, I guess when you compare it to like Army of the Damned or Army of the Dead, it's pretty close. Frostwind's Fury, you know, but those aren't the main cooldowns for those specs. Like Pillar of Frost, Apocalypse, and Dark Transformation are. Those are much higher up in the tree. Whereas here, this is like very low in the tree, comparatively speaking, and I find that kind of strange. Calling the shots, reducing the cooldown of True Shot, we take that, and then you can get a couple of legendary effects coming back in that impact True Shot. So you can get more time on True Shot with reduced focus costs of everything, or grab a stacking crit bonus, go from there. I'm not going to take either one for now because I have some questions on some other talents. So there's a few choices that we have going on here. If you want to invest the final 5 points that we have, you can invest them into Legacy of the Windrunners, which basically means that you get 6 extra wind arrows that also shoot your target. Excuse me. Apologies. So it's like a weird version of Frost Mage Mastery. And then the bonus wind arrows that you generate, they also have a higher critical strike chance and deal more crit damage. I'm very curious to know what the numbers on this would be, because if it's actually good, I'm interested in something like this for single target, because it says shoots your target, so it only shoots the main target. So in a raid situation, I think this actually has a lot of potential. And I really want to see the numbers on it. For Mythic Plus situations, I don't think this has a lot of value. So we're going to grab Wailing Arrow, which is the Sylvanas legendary bow effect. So basically you get shadow damage on your target and shadow damage to all enemies within 8 yards of the target, and then they are silenced. So you get an AoE 5-second silence. That is massive in Mythic Plus, especially if you have a lot of caster mobs. So think some of the last pulls in Gambit where there are a lot of caster mobs, you just fire a Wailing Arrow and silence them all for 5 seconds. So we're definitely grabbing this because it is pretty good damage and the utility on it is ridiculous. Alright. We're also going to grab Lock and Load for free aim shots. Instant free aim shots. So we have 3 points left, which means let's talk about this one. So I don't know what to make of this talent. So heavy ammo makes trick shots go from 5 targets to 3, but each ricochet deals 25% more damage. I don't understand what niche this is supposed to fill. It doesn't fix the 2 target cleave problem that Marksmanship has had for years and years now. And 3 target burst is really rare in the game. So unless Blizzard is planning on doing something different with encounter design, I don't understand how heavy ammo is going to be beneficial. Maybe there's some other hunters that can see the value of it, that play this spec more full time than I do, that are going to be able to really look into it. And if you do know of someone that can express the value of this talent, please tell me, because I just don't see it. I don't understand it personally. Because like, you still need 3 targets in order to activate trick shots. So like, what fight consistently has 3 targets on that makes this talent valuable? I just don't see how heavy ammo is going to be. I just don't see its value. Light ammo, however, I do see the value. And for Mythic Plus, we're going to take it. So getting 2 additional targets, so you get 7 target cleave essentially, which basically puts you on par with almost everyone else in terms of AoE. Sorry, Fury Warriors. Maybe you get something like this in your tree, but I really like this. And that leaves us with 2 points left to spend, and I'm going to spend them on both of these final talents. So I'm going to get Eagle Talon's True Focus to reduce the additional cost of abilities, and we're going to go ahead and grab Double Tap, which Blizzard, if someone's watching this from Blizzard, look at me right here in my, well, this eye, because this eye's over there. Please take Double Tap off the GCD. It doesn't do like Sweeping Strikes and Unholy Assault and Blade Flurry does. I'm trying to think of the abilities, because like, guys, it doesn't do any damage when you activate it. It just activates a buff. Please take it off the GCD, please. Frenzied Regen 2. So I'm going to take these. Now, what are the flexible points in this talent tree for Mythic Plus situations? Lock and Load. Lock and Load, I think, is the most flexible talent choice here, because if Steady Shot is a big part of the rotation where you need to use it as your focus generating stuff, then obviously Improved Steady Shot becomes a much more valuable pick over something like Lock and Load, which is just a free, which just makes your auto attacks give you a free aim shot. This is probably one of the lower value picks on this, and it can be swapped around for any number of talents. You can drop it into Hunter's Knowledge for 5% more crit strike chance on aim shot. You can drop it into Improved Steady Focus. You can put it into Sharpshooter. You can even come back. Actually, that's what I'm going to do. I'm going to come over here and put it into Surging Shots. So I think this is probably a really well-rounded Mythic Plus build. This video is already getting long. I'm at 25 minutes of recording. So I'm going to make a real quick single target build. So I'm not going to talk about this as in depth. Actually, no, we'll do Binding Shot for give you some AoE flexibility. I don't think this side of the tree changes like at all, honestly. There you go. A single target, you might be able to take a point and put it into Viper's Venom if you want to use like Serpent Stalker's Trickery, which I think might be worth. So we'll do 2 points and we'll go ahead and grab Viper's Venom. So that's, nope, I can do 3 points there. I missed something then. Oh, I skipped out for Tar Trap because it switched out Viper's Venom for Tar Trap. That's the big change. All right, and then over here, we're gonna reset. For this, I'm going to make the assumption, again, this is pure single target, without knowing what your tier bonuses would be. If there's anything that enables trick shots or something like that, then something like this probably can skip. Let's see, so we're gonna grab Focused Aim, Force Rapid Fire, and Streamline, Improved Rapid Fire, Killing Blow, into Careful Aim, into Bullseye. Go ahead and take Trick Shots just because it gives some AoE potential. Hunter's Knowledge, True Aim, into Steady Focus. Shots, Eagle Talons, True Focus. Something like this you could do, or you could come down like over here. I'll take away these 2 points. Come over here for like a single target build. This is probably what I'll go with, assuming these are good. And again, a point here can be moved around if Steady Shot's not that important, into something like Wailing Arrow, which is probably what I would do if Steady Shot's not going to be a big part of the rotation like it is right now. So this is kind of like a weird hodgepodge, pure single target build. You know, so my overall thoughts on the Hunter tree and the Marksmanship tree is I like the approach and idea that they did with the Hunter tree. It just feels like towards the bottom it ran out of momentum. I think there's some things that could just be cut out, like Barrage. You stop making it a thing, Blizzard. And then the Marksmanship Hunter tree, I think, has some really interesting options, actually. I like the MM tree a lot. From a PvE perspective, it gives some good choices, some interesting choices, and some options for some really wild builds, I think. So I'll do Beast Mastery and Survival in future videos, and then we'll jump into the long promised Death Knight videos that I keep saying I'll do after that. So until the next video, I hope you're all staying safe. I hope you're all having fun. You keep gaming, and I will see you all in the next video.